Welcome to Spirit Baby Radio. I am your host, Kelly Meehan, a citizen of the universe and a passage keeper and mentor for our new Earth children. I believe we are entering into a new psychic structure of our reality, and it is meant to embody deeper trust and ways into solid self-love and fearless integrity. Our new world energy of spirit babies needs us to consciously create within conception, trust pregnancy, and have freedom to birth and parent from innate wisdom. This is Spirit Baby Radio. Welcome to episode 192, June 2024, a highly intuitive pregnancy and the experience of a professional psychic. What does it mean to have a truly intuitive pregnancy? How can you trust your relationship between your body and your baby? How can baby communication continue to guide you through psychic openings? As always, special guest Erin, the Urban Mermaid. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I love Erin has been here before. We were trying to figure out like what year was it,
Yeah.
but I will put those in the notes because you want to hear this conversation. We've come so far over the years. We've evolved.
We have.
I'm going to read your lovely bio here.
Sure.
Erin, the Urban Mermaid, is a modern mystic, fifth dimensional soul guide and mother. Using her esoteric gifts, she is here to guide the leaders of the new earth on their healing, spiritual, and personal development journeys. Her workshops, courses, monthly membership, and services are meant to hold space for transcendence of consciousness. Erin is a psychic medium, longtime practicing astrologer, Usui, I hope I said that right, Reiki
Usui.
master. Say that again.
Usui.
Usui Reiki master, advanced theta healer, intuitive energy healer, published writer, holistic health practitioner, homeschooling mom, and homemaker. And she was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. They're going to say it like
Right.
that.
Yeah. Got to make the borough proud.
Yeah, but has lived in San Diego for the last 14 years. She and her husband, Ryan, have three sons, Bryson, 7, Christian, 5.5, and Liam, 21 months, and are expecting a baby girl this Leo season. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that. Welcome again, as always.
Thank
So good to
you.
see you. I
So
love
good to
so
see you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Those tuning in see the audio, but I encourage you to come to the YouTube because she has beautiful Mother Marys just glowing around her feminine and baby feminine energy. And so, I was Erin's been posting things on Instagram and it's been catching my attention. And this is why we're meeting because she's talking about this intuitive pregnancy and how different it is and
Yeah.
what that means. And we want to hear more of your story because I want to say, I know, psychics, we have a lot of answers. Maybe not all of them, but especially for yourself, I do feel like, you know, you're in communication with your child. You hear
Yeah.
her and she speaks to you but when I say the word intuitive pregnancy, we'll start from there. How do you define that?
Well, that is really clearing everything else out, all the other noise and um, background noise, doctors, people who think, I don't want to sound mean like that because people usually do have your best interests at heart. You know what I mean? A lot of unsolicited advice, Um, the focus is on you. I always say when I talk to my own clients, everything is within us. Everything. There's no need
Mhm.
to seek validation outside. There's no need for seeking like forgiveness outside of ourselves. And when it comes to pregnancy, it was really just trusting that voice. Which even as a psychic, even as a medium, you doubt yourself. You doubt yourself. We're not all right all the time. There's tons of timelines of things that can happen. There's possibilities, there's free will. Spirit babies are really tricky, I mean, they are some of like they are coming on their own terms and that's about it. So it's really just getting in tune with yourself and your body, your physical body, your mental, your spiritual. For me, I felt like before this baby could come, I had a lot of karmic cycles to work through. And astrologically, a lot of things kind of added up to this. One being, every 10 years, the nodes of the moon go back to where they were when you were born. So it's called your nodal return. And your north node signifies your fate and your destiny and like what you're supposed to be leaning through. I'm sure you've heard the expression lean to your true north, your north node. Your south node is kind of what you're here to release and like, what you've already done lifetimes doing, you have to let go of that in order to transcend, in order to evolve, in order to work past a lot of stuff. And I was just about ending my nodal return when I got pregnant. And right before I had these like several aha moments where it was like, Erin, you have to make some changes in your life or you are going to be miserable. And some of that was health wise, which I always considered myself a very healthy person. But, again, that's being in tune with your body as you get older and as you change, things change. I was feeling like my hormones were super off, and Liam was a year in last August. I was still breastfeeding, that makes your hormones really wacky. You know, kind of just what they spray on us doesn't help either. I was feeling almost like allergies in my body, and I don't have allergies. I couldn't even like enjoy like a glass of wine without feeling very sick. So I was like, you know what? Cut out any drinking. So that had to go. I was like, and now you need to like get your hormones in check. I didn't do any testing or anything like that. Again, I just listened to my body and my intuition. Switched to probiotic to that was like a more hormone supportive one, helped me a ton. Making more of my own foods at home helped a lot too. I did what was I doing? Like a castor oil pack at night. All this stuff is just stuff that you find on Instagram or the internet, and then you just say, you get silent with yourself and you say, does this feel good? Does this feel good to try? Does this feel good for you and what's going on with you? And within 3 months, I mean, I'm not someone who I don't like to say this because I feel like other people hate me for it. Like I'm not someone who gets very bloated.
We hate you.
Yeah. I feel like people like with bad, like, and people with bad periods are like that. Well,
yeah.
And I had just gotten a period back also that my cycle had just returned from a year of breastfeeding and stuff like that. And it wasn't that bad. And I think that all the stuff I was doing was helping that, So the intuitive pregnancy kind of started beforehand. And that's the physical stuff. That's the physical stuff I had to change. I'm forever was forever not making like great financial decisions. And all of a sudden, along with all this, I just woke up and said, you know what? Stop stressing yourself out and just do what you need to do already. And again, I did that. And I felt the presence of my daughter this whole past year, like all of 2023. I made connection with her several times. There were several times I even felt like this is going to happen right now. But at the end of the year, after I did so much of that karmic chain breaking, I knew it. I knew it from conception. The timing just aligned. The changes I made in my life made more sense. I was very clear at that point. And I just knew.
I love that you said earlier, just I feel like I'm going to use that clip in the Instagram later because it was like, just trusting intuition, like, oh my gosh, like trusting yourself. Like, this is so difficult for so many women, especially in conception, in pregnancy. And it's not about people following your rhythm. It's like you following your own rhythm.
Right.
And then seeing how that sits with you. And you just reminded me, like I've been having this foot issue, and it's like nerves and fascia tissue and emotional. And
Mhm.
I don't know, I just went in the cabinet and grabbed a bottle of lysine. I don't know why.
Mhm.
Like I didn't think about it. There was no
Yeah.
like conscious intuition. And
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
go, I should try this, right? And oh my goodness, it was like the only thing that like worked, and it just
Right.
made decreased inflammation. And then I'm like, and I started playing with dosages. And I actually have been able to replace L-lysine with ibuprofen. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even know. Like I used to like ibuprofen was what I needed to go to when I needed
Uh-huh.
had issues. But now I realize my I think my vibration has changed because ibuprofen doesn't do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
But the L-lysine was like my body was like, yeah.
Yeah. You just responded to it. And that's how I felt with just the few changes that I was making
Yeah.
along the way, like a probiotic that helped my hormones and like adding, colostrum into this. And I did also, I still don't eat red meat. And it's because I have low stomach acid. My body just doesn't process it well. So I guess I just don't like it. So I also added like the supplements to, aid in that. And, I I don't mind doing like the research and trying things out and seeing if it feels good, finding other ways to get protein, and all of it worked out, all of it helped. And like as soon as I got pregnant, I've had my easiest pregnancy. And that's saying a lot. No nausea. With
Mm.
Liam, oh my goodness, I was like barfing and green for months.
Mm.
I haven't had any sciatica. I've had chronic sciatica through my pregnancies.
Mm.
I'm at 29 weeks now. Um, Acid reflux. I had terrible, terrible heartburn, indigestion, acid reflux all my pregnancies, to a point that it would be like, do I sit up when I sleep so that
Oh,
I don't get acid reflux
yeah.
and hurt my back, or do I lay down, make the back comfortable, and ease the acid reflux? Like that's how bad it was. I haven't had, and I haven't even really had cravings this pregnancy.
That's so interesting. It sounds like
And I'm older.
a lot of gut, yeah, a lot of gut stuff, huh? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah. I do feel that that hormone balancing
yeah,
probiotic I went on helped a lot. It's not just a generic probiotic from the store. I
yeah, yeah.
really, you know, I really put a lot of feeling into what goes in my body now.
Mm,
So I feel like that does help a lot. The supplements I use to support it help a lot. And like you said, my routine might not be for everyone. I don't even take a prenatal because I take other supportive stuff. I don't think a prenatal is a complete pill. I don't feel it. For me, it's not. I
mm.
don't care. I'll take 15 horse pills. Other people aren't like that though.
But it's,
But
you know, we've been conditioned, right? You
I
take the
mean,
prenatal, that's what you do.
yeah, when you also don't know what else that's filled with,
Yeah, that's true.
and just the way I feel about pregnancy is the way I feel about almost everything when it comes to the physical body is it's not one size fit all.
Yeah.
What works for me might not work for you. What protocol works on my son might not work for my next son.
Mm.
So until that's universally accepted, I feel people just go with like, what they're told rather than checking in with themselves.
I mean that's such a big, deep conversation because I almost feel like when women they hear or they want to hear that support outside of them, it's almost like parts of them check out
Yeah.
and they don't fully get it. But you know, I do feel like we're in a time forward of really owning our deepest selves. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
like I don't live in Erin's pregnant body. I can't
Mm-hmm.
tell her what she
Mm-hmm.
should do and not do in it. Like
Right.
this is like we need to honor the pregnant woman and what her journey is inside her, even if
Mm-hmm.
she has fear or
Mm-hmm.
intervention. You go to the doctor versus the midwife or even just
Mm-hmm.
no assistance. And I
Yeah.
love that there's a new energy that we've created around free birth.
Yes.
Years ago, they used to call it like unassisted birth, which seems kind of like clinical or like,
Yeah.
oh, and I knew women that did it and they had to go underground in secrecy
Yeah.
because they would be like just, oh my goodness, you couldn't do that. Even home birth was kind of like that for
Yeah.
many
It
years
was it
and
was very
attacking.
yeah, I would say that. It's so much more common now, and there's a lot more resources and all of that. But everyone has to do what feels right
Yeah.
for them, you know?
it's definitely a frequency of people where if they're going
Hmm.
to do hospital or home or free birth, it's a frequency. And I'm not saying that like a one frequency is better
It's
than
better.
the
Right,
other.
right.
But what I do want to say for consciousness is that we are pushing more to the highest level of a free birth.
Hmm.
And I know this could be so controversial for so many because their minds and their consciousness haven't shifted enough to see the bigger picture of it.
Right, right.
It's not endangering, it's not to harm anybody. There's something innate and powerful in that.
Hmm.
And I do feel like humanity is moving more and more in that direction. I know
Hmm.
for me, like in my history of trauma, I need a woman there.
Yeah,
Like I know that's what I need. Like I would
yeah,
love to like, oh, free birth, yeah, let's do this. It was like, but
yeah,
Kelly, when you get pushed to that really fearful, intense place,
yeah,
who's gonna like,
yeah,
where's
yeah,
my like,
yeah,
and for me, like I think not having a mother
yeah,
in that time was hard because like these
yeah.
women are my mothers and they're like
Hmm.
the for me it was the midwives and they were
Yeah,
just it was so beautiful relationship and it wasn't over medicalized. I didn't
yeah,
feel like it was. They weren't like they just let me kind of do my thing,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then helped. I have that vision. I'd love to like lift my baby out and pull him up, right? But I was like, I'm in
I
another reality.
I
I
keep
can't do it.
I would love to do that
Yeah,
too,
I'm like
but we'll see if it happens in the
yeah,
moment.
maybe. Yeah, I'll have to go with the moment because when
Yeah,
when my son came, the midwife was like, she actually, my husband freaked out. I could tell he was nervous because we
yeah,
got a little camera in there
yeah,
because I wanted to, and I heard him going, I don't know. I heard him go, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And she's like, just put your arms out and take him. So he
yeah,
was my
yeah,
baby. Our son's first contact was my husband, so it was great.
yeah,
He was just scared he was going to drop him or something.
yeah,
But I was like, no, it's like trust it. It's like, because me and my husband come
yeah,
from traumatic birth stories
yeah,
and so all that. But I love like, yeah, this you're right. People have to go where there's comfortable
yeah.
and how, I don't so how are you feeling? Like what is the
Well, I really home birth kept coming up for me, and I would love to do a home birth. And I actually think I'm going to regret not doing a home birth, but I am not doing a home birth for a few reasons. First and foremost, I have the kind of kids who will, ask me for an apple in the middle of pushing a baby out. Like, Mom, can you do
that's
this?
true.
Mom, can you do this? And not really understand that I can't do that. Literally, before I logged on here, before I came on, I was in the bathroom getting ready. My son Christian, my middle son, comes in. He's like, "Can you get me an apple, please?" Because I have a lock on my refrigerator, which I can explain that later. But and I'm like, but I'm busy. I'm getting ready. I told you I have an appointment today. What's Dad doing? He goes, Dad is busy playing video games. And I was like,
Oh my God.
Christian, go get Dad
We get that
and get an
too.
apple. Yeah. So I'm like, no. And I
He's
also,
busy.
um, and then as far as like having them out of the house, like they have to go or like having them go somewhere to stay or something like that. I, I don't, 3 kids is a lot, and I don't want to put that on my in-laws
Hmm,
for longer than I need to. So, home birth is just unless like accidentally happens.
that's
And
possible.
I do feel my husband has some fear around that too. Because when I brought
Hmm.
it up, he was like, "That's not a good idea. Like, I don't know about that."
Oh,
So I am birthing with midwives at a birthing center like I did last
that's
time.
great. Yeah.
The birthing center is within the hospital, which I don't love
Mm,
because my children have a same connection as I do where we don't love doctors and we don't
mm,
love doctors' offices, like the fluorescent lights. And,
mm-hmm.
with my children, I feel deep down they know if someone has their best interest at heart or not. So that's why they don't love the doctor and stuff like that. And I'm not calling like doctors to horrible or anything like that, but the medical system has failed my family personally many times over, and the pediatric group we belong to, we're just a number. So it's not like anything even bad will or bad ill on us. It's just you're just a number. You go there, you're there 2 hours, you're waiting, you see
Mm.
15 people. Then the doctor gives you a lecture because you're not following their medicine and their protocol. And then you're like, okay, great. Now I got to go pay $4 to park here uh, and sit in traffic to get home. So it's not my
Yeah.
favorite. And I do feel this, my daughter is going to be the same way in not really vibing with the medical system. So I did request with the midwives, like please keep it minimum to who is in my delivery room, myself, my
Mm.
husband, the midwife who delivers, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's usually like an attending nurse. And I'm like, and that's what feels good to me. There is a pool in there, like a hot, not a hot tub, but like,
Ooh, a
a
hot tub would
pool.
be good.
I wish. Yeah. So hopefully that wasn't open though when I had Liam, because I did have Liam in the midwife center. Because of something COVID-y, I forget, like they couldn't,
Mm.
something really silly. But I'm hoping that there won't be an issue and I will be able to try it this time.
I know that my 5.5 when he was 5.5 years old, he saw his brother be born, which was really incredible. But what the suggestion of the midwives, and you have a lot of children there, so it's different.
Mhm.
This was just
Yeah.
one kid.
Yeah.
But they somebody always has to watch the children because you're right,
Yeah.
because they will stall labor. They want mommies. They don't care. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. And so
Yeah.
what they suggested, what we did was my best friend came into the space, and even it was early in the morning. We asked my son, "Do you want to be there?" And he said yes. So they said, "You know what? Go get." They were all involved. I didn't do it, but they're like right before the baby was coming, his little
Mhm.
brother. They called him in the room, and he watched. And then my friend was holding him in her arms, and I remember his face was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. He was like, it's like a rocket ship, he said, came out.
Yeah.
He said, his face was like, the realization was, he was like, there's a baby. And I was like, we've been telling you that for 9 months.
Yeah, I
But he
know.
didn't, just him to see it, he was
Yeah.
like, and then hours later, he got to hold him, and then he started. I remember we were in the bedroom, and he crawled behind the bed and started crying on the floor. And I'm like, it's okay. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't know why I'm crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, because your brother's here. It's so beautiful. And
Yeah.
then I'm crying, and my husband's like, everybody's crying.
Yeah.
It's just such
Yeah.
a beautiful moment of having
Yeah.
your children all together. And they must be so like excited to be having a sister, huh?
They are. They are. Yeah, they are really excited. We told them on Valentine's Day,
Oh,
not the sister part because that part wasn't confirmed, even though I knew it and
yeah.
whatever. And I gave them a baby doll, like as a gift
Oh,
and a
yeah.
puzzle.
Okay.
And my middle son, he's a very nurturing kid. He is like dad junior. He has a Saturn in Capricorn. This kid is
Mm.
like born to be a parent. And he took the baby doll and he went and got my son Liam's diapers, put a diaper on him, went and got an old bottle that Liam hasn't used in ever, and was like, "Look at the baby, we're gonna have a baby." And I was,
Aw, it's so
so
sweet.
he is really excited. Um, I don't know if he like remembers exactly how it went down when we had Liam because
Mm,
he was like 3.5, but he remembers everything actually. So
mm.
they're excited. They asked like, when is baby sister coming? When
Aw.
is she gonna be here? Gotta be careful because of baby sister. Don't do that because of baby sister.
Oh, wow. Right. Three
um,
boys.
yeah. And then my baby Liam, it had to kind of grow on him a little.
Yeah, he's the baby.
Yeah, he's the baby, and he's very much attached to me. All my sons are very
Yeah.
attached to me. And so I bought him a Big Brother book, and we read that every
Mm.
night. And we went from not liking the book to loving the book. And
Okay.
he lifts up my belly and my shirt from my belly. That's baby sis, and
Hmm.
we'll just see how he is when she really gets here, though, because he is a Leo moon and he likes a lot of attention, and she's gonna be most likely a Leo sun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I mean, my son Bryson, I mean, he knew it was a sister from day one. Just, oh,
Yeah.
baby sister. Yeah, he didn't have any other. Yeah, so baby sister.
Let's
You
talk
know.
about that. Let's talk about, the connections that you've had, what you want to share. Like I feel like we've talked about girl energy,
Yeah.
right? We're like, where's this girl?
Well, I mean, I we knew she was a returning soul. We knew that. So from years ago, from the time it was just Bryson and Christian before I had Liam, when they were very little, they always talked about like the sister energy. I remember being at my mom's house, and my mom had a mass card up with an angel on it, and it fell down. Bryson picked it up, he kissed it, and he said, "My sister." And this is like before he even had
Whoa.
a lot of words and stuff like
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
And then right before I got pregnant, when I miscarried, um, Christian was probably maybe just turned 3, about that. And we were outside at my in-laws' house, and I know my brother-in-law heard this too, and this is not his scene, none of this stuff is his scene. He's sitting there, and Christian was just like looking up in the sky, and he's like, "Grandma, sis." And my brother-in-law was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yes, he does that." And the grandma is referring to my grandma, one of my guides, and who I know the baby was with before we had her. And then we conceived her, and we lost her.
Mm.
And that was very devastating for all of us. Took a long time. Again, grief, like we talked about, grief is
Yeah.
a very complicated and personal thing. And I always knew one day she would come back, and I always
Mm.
knew that hindsight would be 2020 of like how everything worked itself out. And we got pregnant with Liam, and we thought it was her, and we were like so excited, and then we were like, another boy, what the hell? you know. But again, he had to come so she could be here. They have that twin energy.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the astrology of around the time that she's born is very linked to Liam's astrology and his chart.
Wow.
So like that twin energy is just, it's very strong. So the boys have like kind of always felt her and knew she was coming. They
I love
probably had
that.
more faith than I did.
Yeah, because they don't
And
have the judgment, right? Or the
right,
overthinking.
right, exactly, exactly. And now they're all almost, they're at these really great ages right now,
Mm.
where they understand things better, and
I know it's
they,
going to be fun. It's like, who wants to change the diaper? It's
I
like,
know, probably Christian. He's very
yeah,
helpful.
let's see how to like that's going to be so beautiful to see. And
Yeah.
um,
Yes. So they've had this connection, and I truly just feel like she's this piece of the puzzle that's just gonna fit right in, and it's gonna be like there was always the 4 of them.
mm, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're all very excited for her to come.
She's coming.
I
It's going
know.
to come quick.
Oh, I know, I know. I mean, I'm 29 weeks, but like this month is crazy. I mean, I'm
We're in
doing
June, June 1st.
yeah, exactly. I am doing a shower. I didn't want to do a shower in my last baby. This one I want to do one. We're gonna be up in LA for my nephew's birthday, and then just June is like just a busy weddings,
Mm.
like so much stuff. And then I'm trying to wrap up a bunch of stuff in my own business so I can make
Hmm.
space for the baby physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Plus, my kids have commitments too. My one son is doing an art camp for June.
Mm.
Everyone's doing swimming lessons in July. So that stuff really has to come first. But someone's got to put all her stuff together, and someone's got to watch it. And
Yeah, you're a busy mom. You're,
yeah,
running the business,
yeah,
homeschooling, and then you make it
yeah,
work. It just happens. And
yeah.
I love
I
that.
mean, homeschooling is life.
Yeah.
It is life. You don't have to send your kids away to school for them to learn. And
Mm.
I really feel strongly about that. Because if someone like me can do this, and I mean, I have a child on the spectrum, and it comes with its challenges, but anyone can do this. You don't have to send your kids to school.
You know what they're calling colleges now? I don't know. Maybe it's a term people know or schools is indoctrination camps.
Yeah. Oh,
I
they
was like,
are.
that's a
Yeah.
clever word.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I would agree with that. Again, those fluorescent lights and I say this not to bash teachers, because I come from a house of teachers.
mm,
And my father-in-law is a teacher. My mom is a special ed teacher for 35 years. My best friends at home are all teachers. But I'm not saying it against them, but you know, they went to school and they were indoctrinated. Now they're teaching the indoctrination, you know, and it's all like rules and like 8 hours a day and stand up and sit
Oh,
down and eat the shitty food and you know
or learn this weird
what
stuff
yeah,
about
this is
fake
what
history.
happened.
Fake
Yeah, this
history.
is
I don't
yeah,
know.
like I don't I mean, now that I'm older, I feel like why did I don't even I don't remember half of it, more
I
than half of
know.
it. Forget it. But that's just not the experience I want my children to have because there are things in life you actually need to know to get by. And US history, you really
I know it's really interesting because
don't.
we're going, I guess we're coming into almost the 5 year of like in September of the
Nice.
homeschooling family. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had to change all our like we just like we learn different. Like we're
Mhm.
like in the beginning, we're like buy all the curriculums, and then we're like, what the
Mhm.
heck are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, there's
We're a
so
very
many,
experiential family of
yeah,
learners.
there's
And
so
like,
many
yeah,
options.
there's so many ways to do it. Once you're in the rhythm, and the number one thing that people always try to they try to challenge me on, which I completely demystify, is they're
Yeah.
not social. And I
Yeah.
said, my kids are more social than public school kids because
Yeah.
they are out all the time. And
Yeah.
I do like that de-stressing. They're not like, because really in an 8 hour school setting, they don't learn all day anyways.
Oh
They're
my gosh.
they're being
No.
watched, babysat, whatever.
Yeah,
And then they're
exactly.
learning, it's like, I want my children to learn about Filipino culture, and they're probably
Yeah.
not going to get deeper history on that,
Yeah, for sure.
or things
For
that,
sure.
because it's like whatever they want to teach them or whatever they feel. And we know with
Yeah.
learning, it's always
Who
changing
writes
in that
who
system.
writes the textbooks?
I know, like we all say, who
You know,
remembers what? Like
right?
actually, my older son's challenging me now because I wanted him to learn cursive.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, I don't, these kids now are like, and he's 13, so he's like, we don't need to do anything, we don't need to learn this and that. And I'm like, oh my God, am I just feeding him what I learned? But I said, well, we can do cursive to sign things, but also I was reading about that it actually helps one part of the brain. It's not about the
Mm-hmm.
writing, it's just about,
Yeah.
so, and I try to tell him that, like, but he's like, whatever. but
Yeah.
um but I was like, we're gonna try different things,
Yeah.
and see
Yeah.
how that feels in different projects and learn about stuff. And
And that's something you have to be comfortable with too. Like,
yeah,
you know, trying different things out and moving on if something else does, you know, all right, this doesn't fit us. Let's try something else. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
like my older son just started blacksmithing and he loves
Oh,
it.
wow.
He made a
Interesting.
sword, he made all kinds of things. He's done fencing. He's
Yeah.
very, because I realized that he's a kind of learner that's very kinesthetic, physical.
Okay.
And he doesn't want to sit and write books and essays and
Yeah.
things. Like that's not
Yeah.
him. My younger one, it likes to read the books, likes
Yeah.
to, write the words. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, it's like they're two completely different learning styles.
Yeah, I hear
You
that.
get that, yeah. And then
Yeah.
how to let them meet the needs of their learning is really, and
Yeah.
I think actually the pandemic really gave that to everybody, is the
Yeah.
ability to that we are capable
Yeah.
of teaching our children. Like,
Yeah. Absolutely. A lot of people feel like uh I think that they think if they homeschool, it has to reflect what school is.
yeah,
And it's actually no, it's the opposite. You know, you're
yeah,
not meant to mimic the 8 to 3 day, have these different
yes.
classes. You're meant to do your own thing. So my kids go to an enrichment center.
Oh,
They
nice.
take some
Yeah.
classes there. Um, and then my son Christian, he's really shown favor to art. So he goes to an art studio.
That's
And
great.
he really
Yeah.
enjoys that. And you know, we're this is my second year officially doing it, and you know,
Nice.
we're just
Yeah.
taking it as it comes, you
I gotta
know.
say that one of the best things about homeschooling, because that people like, oh, I know some people said, oh, you're with your kids all the time, but I feel like you get used to it. And then I take my own self-care. I don't get like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's some days where I feel like I don't want a mom today, but I think you would do that if your kid's in school. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter,
I don't think that that's
But
yeah.
I love the two big things that I like the most is I like that we all sleep really well because there's no rush to do anything
Yeah, that's
unless
good.
there's like a field trip or something, but it's not
Hmm.
like every day we have to push, push, push.
Hmm.
And then we could take trips. We're a nature family.
Yeah.
We want to go to Utah. We want to go to Oregon. Like we
Yeah.
want to go kayaking. We want to play. And then what we do, we learn about the state, the history along the way. When
Yeah.
I took my kids back to Jersey, which we keep going back and forth to, we went to the library and we were learning about New Jersey, New York, tri-borough area,
Well,
and just learning about the
the
birds and
freedom,
the climate.
yeah, the
Yeah.
freedom of being able to pick up and do stuff like that is amazing.
In
I
a,
was just
yeah, in a
saying that to
school
my,
system, they would, and everybody knows, like since my dad passed away, we've had to
yeah,
travel a lot. And in a
yeah,
school system, they say you can't be absent.
yeah,
And then
that's
I'm
right.
like, this is like a
Why?
family grief.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're
why?
not, yeah, you're not taking that away from me.
Yeah,
Like, I have to travel. And it's like, but it's sad because
yeah.
people will go, oh, I can't miss work and I can't, or I can't, I have to go to
Oh,
school. And it's kind of like, gosh, can I be with my heart?
you
America's really
know,
weird like that. Like in American culture, you're
it's
supposed to go to
so
work the next day after
right.
you've had your heart broken
Yeah,
open.
it's such a ass backwards conditioned place. I listen, if it was up to me, I would not live here.
Yeah.
You know, I feel I like the more European lifestyle.
Mm,
You know, their kids don't even learn to read till they're 7, and they are proven time and time again to be smarter than American
yeah.
children, you know.
There's
I hate
something
to put
about the
it that way,
pushing.
but
There's such a
yeah.
American culture pushes really young, but the way
Yeah.
they push, it's I don't know, it's like it
And they do
doesn't,
the same
yeah,
thing to women.
yeah,
They do the same thing to women here. Like half these states don't have maternity leave or not
yeah,
paid maternity leave. And the same thing to men too. I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know. Like I can't say I've spent tons of time in other countries. All I could say is like from what I'm interested in and what I've learned,
yeah,
I don't like the way the system is set up here for anybody.
yeah.
You know, I don't feel they support new mothers or new families. Um, and now, like for example, my son with autism, getting him the help that he needs. And we live in a blue state. I hate to make it that way. We actually have more options.
Mm,
I spent 9 months getting him his behavior therapy back.
mm.
This is something this child needs.
Yeah, 9 months is way too long.
Between the old company not having staffing, insurance,
Mm,
protocols, red tape, uh, what do you call it? Doctor referrals. Why am I taking him to his pediatrician for a referral when it's in his
mm,
chart one and we don't see her. There isn't one pediatrician at this office. She doesn't know him from the next person,
mm.
you know. And then you get the therapy program and they have their own system of getting them in. It was so stressful. Like this is stuff I actually don't put on my Instagram because I would sound like the complaint department. You know, I would start
Complaint department.
my space would become very like a space of rage,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't want that. But it's very hard, and you know, I mean, there's so many things that could go in on
I know
America
you
for
have to
the
it sounds
food,
like, yeah,
like
like we have to so advocate for ourselves, but we do
yeah,
have to push the energies around us to say, you
yeah,
know what?
yeah,
I don't agree with this. This is not fair. And let's
yeah,
have a discussion about it because you
yeah,
feel your power and center. And I do feel like 2024 and on, we are, especially as women, have to
yeah,
really step in and
yeah.
question things and push energies at times for the sake of our children, right? It's like,
Well, yeah, we're coming. Pluto is going to station in Aquarius permanently the end of this year. And the focus is going to be on children. This whole new earth, everyone
really,
talks about the age of Aquarius.
yeah.
There is no definitive timeline of when it starts, but we're there. You know what I mean?
That's
Um,
fascinating because I love your astrology perspective because you're like the astrology goddess for me here. I'm like, because, I'm always trying to wrap my mind around the understanding of it, but I really feel like even especially with pregnancy, with spirit baby communication, I don't know if it's my energy or their energy, or maybe it's both, but they're telling me things that I almost feel like some people will not understand.
you know what I just remembered
Yeah.
from a session me and you had?
Yeah.
You telling me something about Aquarius and my baby. And I was
Really.
like,
I'm all like,
okay.
do tell me.
I can't remember what it was. And then the funny thing is, last May, we took our annual family trip to Florida to visit my dad and my cousins. And I was like, well, I wonder, I was like, just give me a sign, something. And we passed a huge hotel Aquarius.
Hmm.
on
Wow.
while we were driving. And
You're like,
for some
that's
reason, I
a
knew her
rare
sun
hotel
sign.
name.
Right. It's in Longboat Key. It looked very lovely, might I add.
Yeah, like I've
Um,
never heard of
I
that.
I I knew deep down she wasn't going to be an
Yeah.
Aquarius sun, but being an astrologer and knowing the significance of this Pluto in Aquarius,
Yeah.
and one of the signs I always got for her was the star card in the tarot, which is
Mm.
an Aquarius card.
Mhm.
So there's something that with her that is linked to these new age beings, these
Mm.
new star children coming in. Because my boys are in one group, they
Mhm.
are those rainbow children. They have very distinctive traits, just like you and I. We have those indigo traits. I have a handful of clients that are born in like the late 90s.
Mhm.
So it's so funny. I say that and I'm like, oh God, they're so young. They're actually pushing 30. But same, as soon as I met them, I looked at them and I was like, oh my God, you're a
Yeah.
crystal child. And they're like, what are you
Mm.
talking about? And I'm
Yeah.
like, let me go into this with you. Because it's so important. It's so
Yeah.
important to your identity. So now there's like these new wave coming like 2022, 2023, coming into this Pluto Aquarius kids. And I knew that's another thing I knew strongly that my daughter wanted to be part of this group.
Mm.
And their gifts are different than the
Mhm.
other kids. Um, so yeah, I forgot where I was going
It's
on that
so hard
tangent.
to like, yeah, no, because the like when I'm like looking at some of these babies, especially this week, there's a lot of pregnancy sessions
uh-huh.
and I have to sit there and I'm like really kind of moving into these fields and I'm going, how am I going to bring that into words? I do,
Right, right,
because I'm
right.
like, some of these children do have healer themes or do have
Yeah.
teacher themes, but I feel like their, maybe I'll try to say it now, their um, frequency
Hmm.
is acting like keys to unlock consciousness in just their presence,
Yes.
um, or some are coming as a little bit of warrior energy to unlock and shift things,
Hmm.
where others are like, I can see them more than anything, and this is what I don't know if people really understand, is that our children are not ours, and they're coming through us for many reasons, but they have a specific purpose or theme
Yes.
that we are not a part of in a
Right.
sense, like
Right.
when they're coming through. And I even feel like there was one baby energy that was um changing a species of people actually, like, and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, that, like, how do you tell a parent that, like, what the hell is she saying? And I'm like,
Yeah.
but I was just, when I see these like stories, I'm like,
It's
that is
mind
so
blowing.
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's
like,
mind
and it's
blowing.
so fucking beautiful
Yeah.
because these children are just, the love is so incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, just, and I tell the parents, you don't even have to know what I see, but
Yeah.
it's powerful. Like I feel
Yeah.
like they know, they feel it. But even your energy of this girl
Hmm.
energy we're going into is like,
Yeah.
you're right. There is something very, very different and
Yeah.
almost like a sense of ease, or I don't have to hold your baggage and shit. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know, like I get to come in and you get to see, sometimes I feel like, yeah, the energy now, of course, she's pulsating through and she's affecting people now, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's just a really thin membranes there,
Yeah.
but her energy
Yeah.
just is really connected. And then, of course, when she's birthed here and going through that, earthly process, then yeah, there'll be more wisdom for everybody to
Hmm.
like take in, like, okay, what does this mean now? It's like, but it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, the not knowing, of course, is okay too, right? It's like, okay, let's see what unfolds. And I kind of wanted to ask as we're coming to the end, I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you feel with this pregnancy? Like you're doing it, you're intuitive, it's so feels so grounded and focused. And what
Yeah.
what what main thought or idea comes through? And like what is the energy that she's giving you that feels really potent?
You know, a lot of it is a very trusting energy. This is almost like a
Mm,
climax for me.
yeah.
Her birth, like the way I feel the birth going, and of course, if you've pushed the baby out of the birthing canal and like that release, that like release, and then like when the placenta comes out, like you feel like, oh, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the grand
Yeah.
release. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like it's an energy of trust, but it's an energy of when I push her out and I release her, I am meant
Mm.
to release everything prior.
Whoa. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
anything it is that I have held on to, the journey to bring her earthside, that was like a lot of, like I said, my own healing, my own karma I had to go through.
Yeah.
The times where I had to be so involved with my other kids. Maybe Bryson doesn't need me as much anymore. I don't know. I don't
Mm.
know about that. But, and you have the people who are like, oh my God, 4 kids are a lot. Yes, 4 kids are a lot, but I feel 4 is the grounding number. I
Mm.
know that my spirit babies have come to me and have chosen me to be their mom, and they want their siblings and they want their dad. It's all connected, it's all interconnected. But I really just feel like I almost feel like I'm starting like I'm being rebirthed.
Mm. And this is why I was saying that I feel like your posts have changed in a way. There's something
Yeah.
more like you're grounding into a more expanded you. And I
Yeah.
do feel like it's her energy. It's like I think I felt like you said that so perfectly about like the trust and the
Yeah.
truth of who you are is coming through. And
Yeah.
it shows around in the pieces of energy we leave, right? Like
Yeah.
at the store, on Instagram or on the
Yeah.
phone, or like we leave that
Yeah.
energy. So what a beautiful I don't know, recognition to like your to be so present and to
Well,
share with us all.
that's the other thing is I truly feel like I know her.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see her again, almost.
Oh,
We like
yeah.
of all the connecting I've done with her spirit through the
Yeah.
years that my kids have, my husband has, like
Yeah.
he's dreamed about her, and
Oh.
he's a pretty intuitive guy. He's definitely still a guy,
Yeah, he's with you. He's got to be. He can't be like a thumbtack. Like he's got to have some
No, no,
intuition.
no, no.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he's a triple water sign, so automatically, if he's in tune with his emotions, he's pretty on point,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
and he's dreamed about her, and
Oh.
he's wanted to be a girl dad and all of that. So I
Mm.
feel so much like it's this like everything we've waited for, not to put pressure on her. I'm not saying
Yeah.
this to put pressure on the baby and on the soul. It's everything our family has worked so hard towards, healing journeys, spiritual journeys, changing so much from the
Mm.
people that we were, evolving as parents, evolving as souls, evolving at my husband and I as a couple, you
Mm.
know, to be able to finally create the safe space for her to come through.
Mm.
And I feel like now it's time to begin your new lives.
Perfect. I feel like on that note,
Yeah.
I'm like
Yeah.
leave us with something really beautiful to sit with.
Yeah.
Awesome. I want you to share how people, your website, your
Sure.
ways that others can contact you.
Sure, sure. So, my website is just www.erintheurbanmermaid.com. You can get pretty detailed descriptions of the single services and the courses I offer. The courses are ending in June though, and they are taking a retirement. So like I said, I don't know if they're going to be back. They were beautiful for what they are, and they allowed me to be of highest service to many and watch many bloom. But uh, like all good things, they must come to an end. Single services, readings, astrology, all that, we'll see about that stuff. Somehow I always get called back into
I always
it.
say to be continued.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good way to put it. To be
Yeah.
continued. So that my website is just www.erintheurbanmermaid.com. I am most active and I share the most on Instagram. You can get oodles and dissertations of free advice and knowledge and wisdom on my Instagram page. It's just Erin the Urban Mermaid. My email, erintheurbanmermaid@gmail.com. But I do try to be diligent about answering my DMs. The only thing I am keeping going from that June 30th after is my monthly membership program, where I just, I work with people. I have a group that I work with monthly. We do a lot of astrology, we do readings, that kind of thing. So I do healing sessions with them. So I am going to keep that up. If you are interested in that, you could just send me a message. I am on TikTok. I am on YouTube. I'm on TikTok though for the info. Like I am so here for like the recipes and the beauty hacks and like that sort of stuff. I am not so my business is like whatever on there, I guess. But Instagram is basically the best place to find.
That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Erin, for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk with
Yeah,
you.
so good. And we're going to send you many birth blessing love over this time, and we can't wait to see her.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you'll share her with your community
I
and
will.
stay connected. And so I
I
want to thank everybody for joining episode 192, A Highly Intuitive Pregnancy and the Experience of a Professional Psychic.
will.
Thank you for joining Spirit Baby Radio with your host, me, Kelly Meehan. Please join my community and stay in touch with monthly energy rants, Spirit Baby poetry, and get access to Spirit Baby 101 with tips and practices at my newsletter at newearthchildren.com. And join me on Instagram with lives at Spirit Baby Medium, and join the Mighty Networks, the Spirit Baby Collective membership, and Motherhood to Mediumship. Remember, you are the heart that holds communication, and it is your time to connect. Come share in the great shift of your mind and the true spirit of your heart with Spirit Baby Communication.